Hare Krishna, welcome to all the devotees in today's session of the Secrets of Bhagavad-Gita. Om Ajnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhatari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text number 32. Okay, let's start. यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O Parth, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Purport: as supreme teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjuna, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. So yesterday, as we discussed, violence for Kshatriya is unavoidable. It is not possible to be non-violent while acting as a Kshatriya. So when there is no option or there is no other choice than fighting for the cause of dharma, a Kshatriya can never deviate from dharma yuddha or any violence needed for protecting dharma. And Arjuna is supposed to act as a Kshatriya and protect dharma. But somehow he is hiding his own attachments in the garb of so-called good arguments. So definitely there are consequences of war. Uh, they are worth considering. However, Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, cannot give up war, cannot give up fighting with Duryodhana and others simply because of these reasons alone. So the arguments presented by Arjuna were important and they need to be addressed by higher authorities. However, that does not mean that we can we cannot or we should not kill aggressors or those who promote adharma. So Duryodhana was promoting adharma by not allowing a proper share of the kingdom to Pandavas. So that was clearly adharma because as Kshatriyas, Pandavas cannot do any other uh, occupation. They cannot be engaged in any other occupation. They cannot take the occupation of Brahmana, or in other words, they cannot live by begging. That is not possible. And to not allow anyone's his occupational right or uh, his livelihood, that is adharma. So it is befitting that any kshatriya should come forward and punish Duryodhana. And here the opportunity has been given to Pandavas, and Arjuna was foremost among them. So Arjuna did know about his duty, and that is why he uh, prepared himself for fighting. However, by uh, seeing his relatives on the opposite side, all of a sudden he developed compassion for them, and that is simply a weakness of heart. Because in the matter of dharma, once we decide that now we have to execute this dharma, whether we like it or dislike it, there is no other choice. We must execute it. Here, Arjuna first decided to fight, but then again, due to his attachment to his relatives, his kinsman, his grandfather, his teacher, he is rethinking over it or simply denying it. So that is that's called restless mind or flickering of mind. So that flickering happens because of attachment. And Arjuna is supposed to tolerate that flickering of mind. Uh, but we see that instead of tolerating that flickering of mind, Arjuna is presenting argument to support his so-called compassion or so-called uh, non-violent proposal. Proposal. So that is simply unacceptable. And we see that Lord Shri Krishna, when he at one point he chastised Arjuna because it was simply unacceptable from a kshatriya to be non-violent. That's as simple as said. So that is because nowadays we don't see real kshatriyas in life. So uh, we may be wondering Arjun's arguments were good enough to not fight, and why Lord Shri Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to take up arms. But kshatriya means he has to take up arms. Otherwise, there is no point in being kshatriyas. And because they were on the battlefield, not that kshatriyas even at home or everywhere you take up arms. But when the scene is that they are on the battlefield and they have come up for fighting, so uh, there is no return. There is no option left except fighting. And it is further explained here in the purport. In the Parashara Smriti or religious codes made by Parashara, the great sage and father of Vyasadeva, it is stated, Kshatriyo hi prajarakshan shastrapani pradandayan nirjitya parasainyadi kshitim dharmena palayet. Translation: the Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world. See, it's very clear that he has to apply violence. Shastrapani hi pradandayan. He has to punish his enemies and he has to use no violence for that. He can't be non-violent. So that is something integral part of being a kshatriya. It's it's something like someone is a wrestler and he is on a wrestling arena and he denies to uh, excuse me and he simply denies to wrestling. So it would be very strange to hear that if someone is a wrestler and he's standing on the wrestling arena and is denying to wrestle, so that's simply unacceptable. So Arjuna being Kshatriya is uh, while uh, appearing on the battlefield to punish his enemies, so now he's suddenly denying fighting. So that is simply unacceptable. Unacceptable. Considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. So, in the current verse, it is said that it is a privilege of Kshatriyas who get these opportunities on their own accord. Swargadwaram apapa. So, such opportunities open the door for heavens. Heavens means the higher planets. These are not necessarily the Swargaloka, but any higher planet systems uh, can be achieved by fighting for the right cause or fighting for dharma. So that is particularly for Kshatriyas. Uh, so for Kshatriyas to get such opportunities, it's something privilege. And Arjuna, instead of recognizing this privilege of fighting for dharma, he is deviating from it. So that is not acceptable, because even if he dies on the battlefield, he will be promoted to higher planetary systems, and even if he wins, then he would be enjoying the vast kingdom on earth. So in any case, he is not at loss, and he should just carry out his duty as a kshatriya. So one may wonder, then what about the other considerations, that adharam abe bhavat krishna pradrishyanti kulastriyaha srishu drushtaso vashne jayati varna sankhar ityadi ityadi. So what about that? The, because in war, uh, many elderly people get killed, and their subordinates, particularly women, become unsheltered, and because women in general by nature they are prone to degradation because of their being situated in mode of passion and ignorance. So they are dominated by passion and ignorance. So that is why they need to be protected by the elderly members or by their husbands. But in war, many people get killed. So then what about that? So uh, that consideration is valid, and uh, it's a matter of discussion how traditionally, whenever such wars would happen, uh, what solution would be offered for such situations. So that is acceptable, that these particular considerations are worth considering, and there must be some solutions to that. However, not fighting is not the solution. That is the point which Srila Prabhupada highlights here, and Lord Shri Krishna highlights here, that uh, these considerations of rise in adharma and protecting the chastity of women, they should be considered, no doubt about that. But uh, a kshatriya cannot avoid fighting, because what was Arjuna's proposal? He did not want to fight, and then do what? He wanted to beg alms to maintain himself, which was not acceptable. That is simply just an excuse. So a kshatriya cannot do any other thing. So when there is no option left, then where is the question of just begging alms? Which dharma shastra ordains such instruction, or allows such things to happen, that a kshatriya can suddenly escape from war and accept the occupation of a brahmana or sannyasi? That is not possible. So a kshatriya, when in a due course of time, while protecting his citizens, or uh, and giving proper uttaradhikari, or we can say a proper uh, future king, uh, then he can retire from his service as king, and then he can take up vanaprastha, but not before that. So if someone is so uh, so renounced, then maybe in the very beginning of life he can right from the gurukul he can go to vanaprastha. That also has been seen in some cases we discussed yesterday. So that is very rare. But then uh, that should happen right from the Gurukul. Not that once we are acting as Kshatriya, and now in between then you are suddenly change your mind that now I want to become a Vanaprastha. That is not acceptable. So that is why Lord Shri Krishna chastises Arjuna of uh, exhibiting such cowardliness, Kalaibyam. So Arjuna was not coward, but uh, he is, his uh, attachment to his relatives was his weakness, and it was uh, reflected in his arguments. And Lord Shri Krishna, being a guru, could not tolerate such ignorance on Arjun's part. So that's why Arjun got chastised, and that's a lesson for all of us that following dharma is not an easy task. There are challenges. Sometimes we think that okay, I have more challenges than others. So what? That does not allow you to give up your dharma. If you think that you have more challenges than others, that's fine. That is your karma. So that does not give allowance to anyone to give up dharma. So it may happen that some has more uh, bad luck or something, whatever, more challenges. But as all individuals are supposed to follow their dharma, uh, and that is called tapasya. Otherwise, very tapasya. To follow our dharma needs determination, and it needs some level of tapasya, some austerity. To follow dharma, that itself is austerity. So, given this scenario, one must tolerate his own uh, challenges. Just because okay now I'm a brahmachari or I'm a grihastha, I'm a sannyasa, and I'm facing some challenges. So maybe I can just jump over other things. That is not allowed. And that is why we have to see our adhikara from our authorities, and whatever our authorities ordained to us. That now, if you are a brahmachari, then follow the dharma of brahmacharya strictly. If you are a grihastha, then follow the dharma of grihastha. So we cannot avoid those things. And if you are a brahmana, then we have to follow brahmana dharma. If you are kshatriya, then we have to follow kshatriya dharma. Paradharmo bhayava. We cannot take up paradharma or someone else's occupation. So that is adharma. So nowadays we see that people, though they have a different nature, or they are born for something else, but somehow or other they do something else, and that creates anxiety not only for them but for others as well, for the society at large. Because uh, paradharmo, paradharmo bhayava, paradharma or following someone else's occupation, someone else's vritti causes bhaya or brings fear for everyone, and that is not allowed. So maybe in emergency, uh, for some time being, it can be tolerated, but not for eternity or not for long time. So this is something we should always apply in our practical life. We think that being devotees, we are above these three gunas, uh, uh, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. But that is not the fact. We are not above the three modes of nature. And because we have accepted a particular body, which is also born of some mode of nature, whether it is dominated by either goodness, passion, or ignorance, or any combination. So we have to accept an occupation or our own livelihood according to our nature, and be satisfied with it. And if we fail to do that, then that will create some challenge for us. And uh, if you do something which is not our nature, that will naturally create uh, uh, distaste for that activity. and we won't be able to give our complete potential to that particular activity, and that will be like a uh, under uh, underutilization of our potential. And not only that, but sometimes it may create havoc. For example, those who are not having the qualities of a doctor, if they are placed in that position, then what would they do? Suppose by nature they are shudras or or vaishyas, and if they are placed in the position of a vaidya or doctor, then they would think of getting more money from their patients. They will not be thinking about the benefit of their patients. The purpose will be lost, and then they will be unnecessarily demanding this operation, that operation, or they may be cheating their patients. So that's why it is said in Shastras, Bhagavad-Gita particularly, Paradharmo Bhayava. Following anyone else's occupation it invites fears. So that should not be allowed. That's why we need guidance in the society, and this guidance is available through Brahmanas and basically from the scriptures. And Brahmanas present the scriptures uh, in a Guru Parampara. So everyone should take advantage of this knowledge, and whenever they find themselves in difficulty or any perplexity, they should take shelter of this Vedic knowledge through Brahmanas. So that is the right approach. Nowadays, people take help of ChatGPT and something, so many such AI platforms. But that is okay. Maybe that may have some purpose, but that because AI is not a person, so obviously it does not understand you as a person. He can only read the words and interpret it as it has been trained. It cannot do more than that because AI is not a person, and that is why we need a person, particularly brahmanas, uh, who would act as uh, guides for the society. Okay, I will stop here. If there is any question, we can take, or else we can stop here. Any question, Vivek bro?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, we'll stop here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता यज्ञ की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू ऑल फॉर joining the class